I have mostly been using Samsung and Google smart home products in my home for a very long time, and I've been relatively happy. They are companies at the forefront of the industry, and they give me a lot of great options and a lot of great products to use. I have always dabbled with Amazon smart home offerings, and I use them for specific things. However, they've never really become the system that I rely on for my connected lifestyle here, and that's because in some cases I have concerns about privacy, or I prefer other companies' approach to privacy, and also just some of the features or the overall accuracy of their voice assistant, Miss A. In the past, I didn't think the speakers were good enough. They were often muffled sounding and they just left me underwhelmed. And I also found the routines or the overall automation capabilities a little bit lacking and a little bit unreliable. The Echo Shows I bought in the past had a pretty terrible interface, and they were like using a tablet with half the features and half of the things that I wanted to do with them. They were just sluggish, and I bought a screen for a reason, and I really wasn't getting a ton out of that screen. So not only have they fixed a number of things like that with basic hardware improvements, plus a number of software improvements and even improvements to the app that controls it all, but Amazon's upcoming features are going to mean that both you and I are going to end up with an Echo speaker in our home and building a connected lifestyle around them. And I think it's going to be for a very long time. In case it wasn't clear earlier in the video, I've never been a huge fan of the software or the interface on Amazon's smart displays. They just have never drawn me into what's being displayed on screen, and I think most of that is it just hasn't had a lot of value for me. I like putting the photos up of me and my family and these different memories in my life, but to be honest, I could buy a $20 photo frame and get the same capability. I need more out of this. And I, like you, have become frustrated with the fact that Amazon just continues to add more things that rotate through these smart displays, because every time I look at it, it's almost random whether or not that is something of value to me. So when I tell you that Amazon has created a new widgets feature that will cause a lot of that rotation to stop and to display information you and I are actually going to care about whenever we look at the display, this is going to bring it in line with what Google has done with their interface. I'm personally excited to see my lists and my notes from other people in the household, or be able to leave notes, calendars and emails, and those basic functions that Amazon's voice assistant takes care of for us. But I'm even more excited about the fact that developers are going to be able to create skills with widgets, and that means you and I are going to be able to customize this display and make it actually look like what you or I want it to look like and what is relevant to our daily lives. So when I think about using this for myself, I mean, my phone is a great place to start. I have widgets for things like my calendar, like my email, but I also have widgets for things like website statistics, what I do in my business here, YouTube, and other aspects of that business part of my life. Plus, I use it for smart home control, things like Samsung SmartThings with their great widgets. Can I be honest about skills for a moment? I mean, it's not like I'm trying not to be honest with you as I tell you these things, but sometimes I just find that skills are maybe not what they should be. You think about when you first went back to the Apple App Store, the very first time you got an iPhone or you tried out that App Store. How exciting was that? This was all these new programs and new apps and new games that you could just go and try, and every time you looked, it was kind of exciting because you didn't know what you would find. And this caused this massive explosion in terms of software that we had access to, as silly as lots of them were. It didn't matter, it was still exciting, and it did, in the end, bring us a lot of developers who had a lot of ideas and created amazing things for our lives. But Amazon hasn't gotten there, and I think for myself, you know, the voice interface just isn't enough in a lot of cases. So I've been really happy to see some of the new games on the Echo shows that have shown up, but we need all of these developers to come and bring their great ideas. And in order for that to happen, in a lot of cases, the developers have to be making money. And what Amazon has opened up now is a lot of different ways that will attract developers into the system in order to make money. And while you will not enjoy the fact that some, just like apps on the Apple App Store, some skills will become fully paid for skills, there are some other options that I think are much more exciting. Both India and Canada have gotten these in-skill payments. So that's when you're in the middle of a skill and they say, hey, if you want a little bit more, here you go. It's the same thing as an app. That's not really all that exciting, but what I do think is a little bit exciting as we talk about the Olympics going on right now, you know, if I'm in a skill that's all about the Olympics, what can now happen is, let's say I'm following one of my sports that I like to follow and play actually in badminton, and I hear about the person who won the gold medal there, and I want to know what kind of racket they're using, and then I can buy it through that skill. This is something that is now possible, and the developers can actually make money off of you buying products off of Amazon. But I think I'm more excited with some of the new ways that are coming that will allow me to save time with these skills. Sadly, I have never been to the Whole Foods where you can just walk in with what is essentially your phone and you have an Amazon account on it and you do your shopping and you go all the way in and all the way out with your products without having to talk to a soul. It's kind of a dream of mine. But that still takes me time to go shopping. So I've been using services like Instacart in some cases, or at least the online ordering systems at places like Walmart. And what that means is I save a lot of time and I actually save quite a bit of money because I'm not walking up and down the aisles picking things that I don't need. But I still have a bit of time that I end up spending because as I get to Walmart, it seems like every time they tell me they'll be right out, but it's 5 to 10 minutes at least, although it feels like an hour. And actually, some of the new capabilities that Amazon have been building are meant to save me that time and you that time as well. Now, one of the things that has been scaring me a little bit with Amazon is how proactive they're getting with their voice assistant and their smart home products. But I like this one because it's going to save me that time. Now, what they showed in their developers conference was that if you were someone who had an Echo Auto in your car and you start heading towards Whole Foods or you're within the area, it would actually proactively tell you, and I'm sure this could be done on your phone as well, to notify the store, and then it would make that happen if you said yes. Now, that meant once you got to the store, it would again prompt you, and the grocery store would come right out with your groceries. So you wouldn't have that 5 to 10 or what feels like an hour wait time to get your groceries. One of the biggest benefits to Apple's automation system is Shortcuts, which is actually a company that they purchased, and it's just a little application that's on your iPhone. This allows you to create these customized things that can happen with apps on your phone. And so I'm really excited to see Amazon's take on this within skills as they give us within routines in the Amazon application the ability to use customized actions out of those skills. So that would take you to a certain spot in the skill, and I think you can tell these are about to get a lot more complex. Now you take that with a couple other features that I think are going to work really well here. You can send skills to your phone. So if you find a deal on the McDonald's skill, well, you can send that to your phone and show it to the person at the window when you get there. Plus, this is a free game idea for you because there's now this shared experience ability, and that means that between your friends or your family, you can both use a skill and, for example, play chess with each other, and that shared experience will be passed back and forth. You can just open it up where your chess game is at. One of the things I really love about having these speakers in my home is that pretty much no matter what I buy, I'm going to be able to connect it with my Echo and probably save a little bit of time in my life, and in some cases even save a little bit of money. But despite all of this compatibility, Amazon is actually working really hard at growing their compatibility with just about anything in the industry. They have told us now that they will continue to be on the forefront of the developing Matter standard, and they are a key partner in what used to be called the Zigbee Alliance, but is now the Connectivity Standards Alliance, or CSA, that has a much wider mandate for making sure all of your products play nice together. So Amazon has come forward and they said, our speakers are going to support the Matter standard all the way back to, and unfortunately not including, the first generation Echo devices that you bought. I don't even know when anymore, but everything else will be compliant. But they're also a key member of a new standard or a new working group that's creating the ability for all of your smart speakers, no matter if they have a Zigbee hub, to act as a Zigbee hub and control all of those smart home products that you have that are of that type. But Amazon is even starting to lead the industry in terms of their voice assistant. They're trying to bring in the big other companies into a working group to create a standard around voice assistants. So this is Amazon totally turning the table on Google and Apple, who've always been a little bit ahead in this game, and trying to bring them into creating a standard that would make it easier for people to know how to use a voice assistant, and how for companies to know how to integrate with those voice assistants. Speaking of standards, I think that Amazon is doing this really smartly as they develop things. And when you think about Amazon Sidewalk, well, what they did there is not try to reinvent the wheel. They called it something different, but really what they did is, in a lot of cases, use the best technology for smart cities. That's because the point of Amazon Sidewalk is to literally have you go outside your home and still be connected. Now, I'm betting that some of you are sitting over there and you've got this one comment for me. And actually, as I do this, I think I just broke the fourth wall because I recognized you. I don't know how that whole fourth wall thing works, but I feel like Deadpool right now. Also, I'm Canadian, so I'm definitely Deadpool. Now, the thing that I'm trying to get to here is the fact that a lot of you will be sitting there saying, yeah, but all of this stuff relies on the internet. And actually, Amazon has been doing a ton here to get to a point where you're able to locally control everything. And that means you wouldn't be reliant on that internet connection in your home. And Sidewalk uses your neighbor's internet connection to make some things happen, and it's using LoRa to extend further out, plus Bluetooth and some other technologies. But what's really interesting is now when you go into the speaker settings for any device with a Zigbee hub, you're going to find this local voice control option, and that's going to be extended further. I'm telling you right now that the processors they've been dropping into these newer devices, plus the Matter standard and even a little bit of that Amazon Sidewalk standard, is going to give you much more local control for your entire smart home. And just so I can pretend that I really tie things together really well, I'm gonna say, let's go back to the start of the video where I talked about the fact that I had Google and Samsung and other companies' products in my home, and I've had Apple products in my home in the past. I just don't usually keep them that long. But what has continually happened here to me is I keep getting reasons to use those products from even those big makers with Amazon's system. Google brought Nest into the Miss A application very first. It was the first integration that they did when they canceled the Works with Nest program. This gives us instantly thermostats and cameras from that system, as well as probably future products. My SmartThings system totally integrates with Amazon, and actually I can use a number of their sensors to trigger routines, plus all of the devices from SmartThings can be used in routines and automations and just directly controlled by voice. I might now actually look at a family hub fridge from Samsung because they finally recognized that Bixby was so terrible that they'll at least pair Miss A's voice assistant on that device. Plus, even with brand new products that are coming out, the Galaxy Smart Tags will be integrated into the Find My service with Miss A, just like the Tile products. So I think Samsung just integrated with Amazon Sidewalk, one of their newest products. And I can't believe that I'm sitting here telling you that AirPlay 2 is coming to the Fire Sticks, and actually it's already coming available on the Toshiba and Insignia Fire TVs out in the last year. So even Apple, with Their AirPlay service or AirPlay capability is now coming into the Amazon devices, and Amazon Music is available on the Echo speakers in the US, plus Apple TV is on the Fire TV sticks too. So even Apple is being drawn in. So great is Amazon's power at this point that Lenovo is producing laptops that are dual capability and basically act as an Echo Show. And they are so powerful that Microsoft ignored the massive Google Play Store and actually are going to use Amazon's version in their new Windows 11 operating system. Simply put, Amazon connects to just about everything, and you literally now cannot leave your home without basking in the proverbial rays of Amazon Smart Home Network. Their skill store and the capabilities around their skills are finally there where it will become the new Apple App Store. They are going to automate your shopping experience across all kinds of segments in your life and give you back time. Plus, they have upgraded everything in terms of hardware in their newer devices, giving us access to things like local control that the more experienced smart home community, like I know a lot of you guys are, will want. Earlier in the video, I talked about this standard that they were working on that would turn all of your smart speakers into a Zigbee hub. And it doesn't matter if you have an Amazon speaker or a Google or an Apple speaker. This is really important for your home, and it will impact a lot of the decisions you make going forward. So go check out this short video that will actually take you through that really quickly and make sure you make the right decisions for the next little while here in the smart home. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.